Have you ever ran into a randomized encounter only to find out its ability is Sandstream? Well, today we're going to try and beat Pokémon Radical Red Nuzlocke only using Sand Pokémon. What makes a Sand Pokémon, you ask? Well, these are the conditions of the capture. I can only catch Pokémons of 3 type: Ground, Rock, or Steel. All 3 take no damage from Sandstream, and any Pokémon with a Sand ability, regardless of type. That includes Sand Veil, Sand Rush, Sand Spit, and of course, Sand Stream. Adding that to the regular Nuzlocke rules, we'll be randomizing the Pokémon and their abilities. And to make things easy, we'll be using Easy Catch and Radical Red Dex Sight to check the Pokémon's abilities. To make sure we get enough Pokémon to complete the challenge, we'll be adding a token system as well. For every route we can't catch a Pokémon that meets the condition of capture, we add 1 more token to the counter to cash in on another route to capture more than 1 Pokémon. And with the rules put in place, we can begin the run and into the Professor's Lab to pick an early room to get us started. Starting in Pallet Town, we check the Dex Nav and only notice 1 applicable Pokémon, Gigalith. However, we can only catch it by surfing, so we have no way of obtaining it, giving us an early token. But we don't have to wait long before we pick up our first catch on Route 21, and it's a good one. Dry Skin, Iron Treads. Adding an immunity and getting rid of a key weakness gets added to the team. Next up, Route 1. And what is a sand run without a sand setter? And ours is an Amorous, but we have to wait for the Dream Patches to activate its ability. In Viridian City, things heat up. We have an abundance of choices, ranging from Corviknight to Big Old Groudon. So we decide to use our first token. However, we don't go for either of the mentioned, but starting with Prankster Great Tusk. With priority bulk up and its amazing 131 attack and defense stat, no physical attacker is going to be able to break it down. And secondly, Clink, who evolves into Klinklang with the ability Huge Power. If we can get a shift gear going, there's a good chance we can sweep. Now on Route 22, we go for Cradilly. Great bulk, it just got bulkier with Fur Coat, adding to our defensive core. To round up the team before Brock, we go to Route 2, add a Noivern. In Viridian Forest, we pick up a speed boosting Swampert. In Diglett's Cave, it's a Ghost and Ground type. And finally in Pewter City, the soon-to-be Vileplume with Sand Rush. With our ancient and future Donphan duo, the early game was a breeze. Iron Tread rolls out on Falkner, opening the way up for Brock. And with Bulldoze this time dealing with Geodude and Onix, Cradilly comes in with the assist to chip at the Arcan and the Varoom. Iron Treads comes back to finish Brock's team with a Bulldoze on the Varoom and a rollout on the Arcan to get us the first badge. Before our next badge, we had Ice Scales, Alolan Diglett on Route 3, Water Absorbing Excadrill on Route 4, and Iron Boulder in Mount Moon with Sap Sipper, covering our team with another immunity. With that addition, Super Nerd Miguel fight doesn't give us any issues, as we bait the grass move to boost the Iron Boulder, with cover from the 2 Dons and Cradilly for backup. A bit more of a risk against Archer, as we let Cradilly brine the Glimmet, but the Mighty Anna comes in and starts howling, trying to break through our Fur Coat. But as the third howl comes in, we get lucky with an Ancient Power boost, letting us outspeed and KO in the next turn. We come out of Mount Moon and straight against Misty, and you would think with a Sand team we would have a rough time against Water, but we got lucky and already have 2 counters in Iron Treads and Excadrill. Frogadier is no problem, as we bait the grass move on Iron Boulder, who KOs with a couple Rock Tombs. Misty sends out Starmie, to which we bring out Iron Treads. But even with the immunity, Bulldoze is our best move, and it isn't doing a lot of damage. And Starmie is whittling us down with Aura Beam. We bring in our Ice Scales Dugtrio to bait the water move to heal up our Iron Treads. With Starmie in the orange, 1 more switch into Dugtrio. We can take it out and outspeed with a Night Slash. Excadrill Rock Tombs a Floatzel, as all it can do is Icy Wind us. With 2 more Rock Tombs, we take out the Floatzel. Iron Boulder gets a slash off on Clodsire before Great Tusk can come in and end the battle with a final bulldoze for our second badge. With a stack 6, there isn't much of a challenge before our next gym fight. Gary's Ivysaur gets walled by Iron Boulder, who knows Psycho Cut. We breeze through Nugget's Bridge, where we didn't even need a ghost type for the last resort, Komala, which lets us fish up the Celesteela with Harvest and a Trace Goldingo on Route 25. We pick up the SS Ticket from Bill, and then challenge Bugsy. With the rain activated, Iron Tread the Rock Tomb's low kicks, as our Dry Skin ability activates and heals us up from the critical knockoff damage. Scizor tries to Swords Dance up, but with a Rock Tomb lowering its speed, we outspeed the next turn to KO and get back to full health. Scizor is next. As we try and continue the Rock Tombing fun, Scizor gets a crit with a Rock Smash, so we switch in his brother, who takes in an Aerial Ace to proc our Citrus Berry, but 2 Brick Breaks is enough to send out Lydian, who gets a couple more Rock Tombs to give us access to U-Turn. We continue adding to the team. On Route 5, we land Simple Archulodon, followed by Volt Absorb Escavalier on Route 6. In the SS Sand, we are reunited with Garganacl, who in our previous run went crazy with Prankster. This time, he has Tablets of Ruin. Entering the ships, and for the first double battle, we lead our Iron Treads and Celesteela. We target the left-hand side with a Rock Tomb and Air Slash, which is enough to get rid of the Dartrix and Simisage. With Wigglytuff and Simisear now in, we switch our target and go for the Bulldoze and the Air Slash combo to take out Simisear. We finish up the first battle with an Iron Head onto Wigglytuff and Duot getting whittled down with Rock Tomb and Snarl from Archulodon. With the Sailors, we switch things up. This time, Excadrill for the Rock Slide and Archulodon to snarl the special attackers. But we get critical hit from Lilith onto Archulodon, forcing us into the switch. Celesteela comes in. We bait the Water Absorb onto Excadrill as Celesteela hits a couple Air Slashes onto Nidoqueen. With only one side left on the field, Excadrill and Celesteela can take down Luminion, Tatsugiri, and Lilith. Brendan's next up, and Crawdaunt's the only real threat, as he gets our Iron Treads low with a couple of knockoffs. But without the ability to trigger Aqua Jet, we outspeed and KO with some Bulldoze. With the HM cut now obtained, the way to Lieutenant Surge opens up, as he sets up the electric terrain with Pincurchin. Iron Tread misses out on the KO with Stomping Tantrum, but we take minimum damage from Hidden Power before getting the KO. Celesteela switches in to Leech Seed the Belly Bolt, as we get Thunder Waved in the process. Belly Bolt switches into Manectric as we switch in our Great Tusk for Belly Bolt to come back in to take the Bulldoze and use up its Shucker Berry. Tread heals up on the Muddy Water to take out Belly Bolt with 2 more Bulldozes. Manectric does big damage on Great Tusk as we lower its speed with Bulldoze, but the same HP Grass goes into the Iron Boulder, this time to raise its attack, as we outspeed and KO. Vigavolt barely survives the Rock Tomb and lowers our speed with Mud Shot before going down, leaving Pawmot last up. We know we can take a hit, so we slow it down with Rock Tomb as a Thunder Punch comes our way, triggering our Citrus Berry. With Iron Boulder now outspeeding, we KO with Psycho Cut to obtain the 3rd badge and enter the mid-game. Before we reach Erika, these are the highlights. Catching Durant on Route 9, Celesteela and Cradily stall out Contrary Spinder. We get ourselves a Steelix on Route 10. Rock Tunnel, we pick up Primal Armor, Crocodile, Sudowoodo on Route 8, Sage Power, Hisui and Gudra, and Transistor, Nidoking. With the tea in hand, we open the way to Saffron City to get some of the Dream Patches and get the abilities we want on some of the Pokémon. And let's not forget the 3 tokens we obtained in Lavender Town, Celadon, and Saffron City. With that said, we can face off Erika for our 4th badge. It's Rillaboom v Celesteela, who automizes first turn against the Drain Punching Gorilla. but 2 air slashes take it out and send in Electrode. Expecting a super effective electric move, we send in a Volt absorbing Escavalier, who has enough health and defense to take the next turn Explosion. Venusaur tries to put us asleep, but only ends up boosting an Iron Boulder. The Mega stays in and gets KO'd by Psycho Cut. Reverum switches in to take the knockoff. Take one more the next turn as we connect with a Poison Jab. Looks like we can take another knockoff from Meowscarada. But this time U turns out only to bring in Meganium on a quad effective Poison Jab. Enamorus comes in to set up the sand before going into Escavalier as Meowscarada misses the triple axle. With that miss, it assures us the win, with a final Iron Head to end the battle and obtain the 4th badge. In the game corner, we find a Grunt with an Aero and a Hypno lead. We lead our 2 Dons. We try and knock off the Hypno, but a Rock Slide flinches on the Great Tusk. As Treads gets put to sleep, we stay in this time. Tusk connects, but not enough to take out the Hypno. Treads finally wakes up and connects the Rock Slide, taking out the Hypno and leaving the Aerodactyl one low enough for a knockoff to take it out. We switch the Treads into Fur Coat Cradilly, and Obstagoon doesn't protect and ends up taking a Brick Break from Tusk for the KO. With Grand Ball left, Giga Drains and Rock Slides whistle it down for the KO. Before we can face up with Giovanni, we have a couple more double battles, starting with neutralizing Gas Weezing, trying to nullify Slaking's Truant's ability, so we double in on it with the Dons. Iron Head, followed by a Rock Slide, connects. Crobat survives 2 Rock Slide with its Berry, as next turn a final one comes in to take it out, as Enamorus comes in for Treads. Boulder comes in for Tusk, and Enamorus ends the battle with a Dazzling Gleam. Next up is Priority Gale Wing from Talonflame to boost up Shiftry, but without a Fake Up user, we resort to Celesteela and Tusk, trying to bait out the Leaf Blade onto Boulder. But Celesteela gets hit with a low kick instead, before bringing Shiftry to its sash with an Air Slash. Boulder then quick attacks the Shiftry, but gets burnt, and follows it up with a Psycho Cut onto Toxicroak, as Cradilly Ancient powers the Talonflame. With Electros left, it's an easy 2-on-1, with Enamorus getting the final KO again. We can finally face off Geo, who leads Nidoking. We try and counter with Iron Boulder, only for Earthworm to switch in, who takes the Psycho Cut and Shed Tails into Veluza. We break its sub with a Rock Slide, as it fillet aways. But our Treads is the perfect counter, soaking up the water and knocking off for the KO. Mega Kanga comes in and connects a Fake Out into Cradilly. He then Power Punches twice as we land the Toxic. We protect for Chip. Another Power Punch comes our way as we eat our Citrus Berry and Giga Drain to near full health. Another Protect and it's in the red. Expecting it to take any hit, we stay in and Giga Drain, but Geo switches out and we end up breaking Infernape's Sash instead. Boulder switches in as it Swords Dances, but we are faster and we get the KO with Psycho Cut. Nidoking comes in and surprisingly takes one hit and leaves us on low after an Earth Power, before a quick attack takes it out. Honchkrow connects onto Enamorus, but a Dazzling Gleam does the job. Cradilly switches back in to take the Fake Out from Kanga, as a final Protect lets the Poison take it out. Earthworm is all that's left, so Tusk comes in on the Iron Head and ends the first battle with Giovanni with a Brick Break. We save Mr. Fiji in the Pokémon Tower, whilst picking up a Garchomp in the process. Mr. Fiji then gives us the Flute, unlocking a couple leftovers from Snorlax, Diplin. Silphco gets unlocked, and Gary is first up. We lead Noivern with Blazing Soul to burn the Staraptor, but we end up landing the Will-O-Wisp on King Gambit instead. Tusk can easily come in now, hitting an Earthquake to put the Gambit on red, as it knocks off our leftovers. Staraptor comes back in, landing a Brave Bird onto Noivern, who takes another as we Rock Slide it and let the recoil do the rest. Venusaur decides to Earth Power instead of Giga Drain on Baldur, but we live too as 2 Psycho Cuts take it out. Huge power Izumuru comes in, but Treads is the perfect counter. An Earthquake and a couple Iron Heads do the job, as the Water Mouse goes for a couple Ice Punches for minimal damage. Garchomp tries to switch in on a resisted Flare Blitz, but still takes a decent amount of damage from Darmanitan. We outspeed, but with only Bulldoze, Darmanitan survives and goes for one more Flare Blitz for the extra damage, but takes it out and ends the battle. The infamous Archer and Ariana fight is next, as we have to be wary of the special attacking Mega Houndoom and huge power Mega Mawile. For our trio, we decide to go for Sage Power Goodra, Speed Boosting Swampert, and Dry Skin Iron Treads. We lead Goodra and lock in Flamethrower into Gothitelle as Masquerain gets faked out and Psychicked. Houndoom is in, so we bring in Swampert as Masquerain gets taken out and the Dark Lariat triggers our Citrus Berry. We protect for the speed up as Sceptile lands a Focus Blast on Houndoom. This time Dark Lariat goes into Sceptile, as the next turn it lands another Focus Blast before being taken out by Dark Pulse. We Rock Slide, taking both the Fire types down and bring in two Steel type Pokemons. Goldingo connects with a Focus Blast on Exploud, as Exploud retaliates with a Flamethrower on the Mawile. Mawile then play roughs the Exploud to leave Treads up. We Earthquake, as Mawile Sucker Punches just before it goes down, but Goldingo survives and goes for a Focus Blast, but this time we get lucky and it misses. Primarina and Goldingo are left. One more Earthquake takes out the Steel Ghost type, as Primarina resorts to using a Fairy move on our Steel type. Couple more Iron Heads come in to end the battle as we come out of it unscathed, and it's time for Giovanni, the rematch, and a battle of the Sand Users. We lead Sandrush Vileplume, equipped with the Miracle Seed for the easy one-hit KO on Hippowdon. Gio sends out Sandrush user of his own with Excadrill, who takes neutral damage from an Energy Ball and Swords Dances up. Celesteela comes in flying over the incoming Earthquake, but a Giga Drain isn't enough for the KO as he Swords Dances again. Next turn, Excadrill goes for a Rock Slide, and with no flinch, we go for a final Giga Drain with the Citrus Berry to keep us healthy. As Garganacl comes in, and with us being fairly healthy, we stay in as two Flash Cannons goes its way, as Assault Cure followed by Body Press bring us low enough that we have to switch in Vileplume to finish it off. Garchomp is in next, and it Swords Dances on the Swampert. We trigger its Berry with an Ice Punch, as it Swords Dances again. We protect to get one more speed boost, before taking out the Ground Dragon with another Ice Punch. Torterra is next in. We go for another quad effective Ice Punch, leaving ourselves open to a quad effective Wood Hammer of our own on our Swampert, but we come prepared with a Rindo Berry, just barely surviving on 14 HP, and finish it off with another final Ice Punch. Mega Kangaskhan is out as it fakes out our Cradilly. Same plan as before, Kanga goes for a Power Up Punch as we Toxic it. We protect for Chip. Next turn, a couple more Power Punches come our way as we Giga Drain some health back to near full health. We protect again to put it in the red. We survive another Power Up Punches to end the battle with Giga Drain and defeat Giovanni for the second time. With Silph Code clear, it's time for the 5th badge, with Erika up next to set up the Psychic terrain as we lead our two Dons. We go for Iron Head on Hatterene, expecting a KO, but we miss out on it, as Tusk knocks off and knocks out the Indeedee. However, we get lucky, and Hatterene flinches to bring in Ursaluna. The bear protects to activate its Guts ability as Hatterene goes down on the Rock Slide to bring in Gardevoir. We double switch as Gardevoir sets up a Trick Room and Celesteela avoids Ursaluna's ground attack. However, Trick Room works in our favour as Escavalier goes for an Iron Head on the Mega for the KO, with Celesteela healing off some of the facade damage. We decide to knock off Porygon's Eviolite and survive a massive hit from Ursaluna as it just survives our Giga Drain. We get lucky the next turn. Escavalier is low and we switch in our Garganacl, but a Tantrum comes our way, leaving Garganacl on red, but Bonnet decides to knock off on our Celesteela instead, as we air slash back and the burn takes out the bear. Porygon and Bonnet are left. Cradily has to come in, takes both the Ice Beam and the knockoff, as one more air slash KOs the Bonnet. With Porygon left, Celesteela Giga Drains to avoid the Thunderbolt KO, and Tread comes in for the Earthquake KO, giving us the 5th badge. With that, it's time to choose the weather route. And it's only right we go through the sand route, starting with the Biker Mini Gauntlet. We lead our Fur Coat Cradily, as Mienshao fakes out and knocks off our leftover, but Sappy Seed is enough for the takedown on both Mienshao and Alolan Dugtrio. Heliolisk is out, but Treads takes the boom and ends the battle with an Earthquake. Next up is Dracozolt, who Bolt Beaks as we Sappy Seed. We protect to chip away with the leeches and stay healthy at the same time. Couple Rock Slides end the second Biker battle. Cradily is still at high enough HP against Dugtrio, so we stay in, take the Earthquake, and strike back with another Sappy Seed. Ariana gets rid of our leftovers as another Sappy Seed goes its way, but it can't do enough damage. So we KO and the third consecutive Biker is down. Next up, Garganacl comes in to Salt Cure the Gigalith and Body Press for the takedown, whilst Last Respect's Houndstooth doesn't do enough as we Salt Cure and recover up. Roserade can't break down Cradily quick enough, and Celesteela deals with Excelgor. Next in, we have a Reverie who shift gears up twice, but has nothing effective against our Tusk, as an Earthquake takes it out after a Brick Break popped its balloon. Escavalier was in to deal with the Cacturne, but it goes in the red after a knockoff and a Sucker Punch, as the X-Scissor brings out Sizzle. Garganacl is in to Salt Cure the Steel Bug as Cradily switches in to take the hits. Next battle, and we get lucky. A level 1 Aeron with Sturdy comes in and endeavours, leaving our Iron Tread on 1. As the knockoff takes it out, the next turn, Beedrill is in with Pursuit. But I guess Beedrill saw the fast Rock Slide KO before it megas, and we avoid the Pursuit trap for Celesteela to come in and air slash the bee. On our way, we catch a Tyranitar before entering the rain route, which Enamorus overrides. Tread baits out the Salamence, as Enamorus comes in to take the Dragon move. Springtide Storm comes in for the first KO. Knockoff from the Tread takes out the Starmie. Wishcash just about survives the Sappy Seed, as Magnezone switches in, but Tusk can come in to Earthquake the Magnezone, and hit a close combat on the low Wishcash. Entering Route 18, and the first battle on the route, we're up against a Cramorant, who always seems to cause an issue, but Tread wins the battle, but couple Rock Slides. Escavalier avoids hitting itself with Confusion. Cradily takes out Decidueye with an early Toxic Land that whittles it down with Rock Slide. Celesteela risks it all against the Nidoqueen, just coming out on top, and Enamorus ends the battle against Mantine, with Sandstream taking the final hit. Celesteela and Treads team up on the next rain battle, with Earthquakes and Air Slashes, as Mega Pinsir hits hard, but Cradily survives and retaliates with a Rock Slide to enter Fuchsia City. We pick up the Super Rod and make our way through to Safari Zone, where we meet up again with Brenden, as Enamorus leads to set up the sand and pop Metagross's balloon. Tread comes in and fires an Earthquake, just shy of KOing, taking half in the process. Sceptile Swords dances as we bring in Enamorus. It goes for the Bullet Seed, but luckily for us, only landing 3 times, before it gets taken out by a Springtide Storm. Goldingo switches into Gardevoir, as a Shadow Ball takes it out. Goodra handles the Explode with Sage Power Flash Cannons. Medicham wants to go for close combats, so Goldingo comes back in as it Shadow Balls to catch the Crawdon on a switch. Cradily finishes off the Lobster, as Medicham looks to lock itself into close combat, to which Goldingo can safely come back in and Shadow Ball for the victory. Entering the Safari Zone, and with the tokens in hand, we use one again, as we pick up Ice Scale, Colossal, and a Milotic. That will come in handy as we head back for our rematches, starting with Brock. And we get to see Prankster bulk up in action for the first time, as Tusk sets up to take the first KO. Mega Aero comes in to put us on the red, but a close combat is enough to take it out. Hisui Arcanine is walled by Swampert, so it switches into Omnistar, but Swampert does enough for the KO. Arcanine is back in, but Cradilly switches in this time. As next turn, a Sappy Seed goes into Ursaluna instead. A few switches and Milotic is up against Arcanine. An Earth Power brings it to its sash, as Cradilly has to come in again, and this time Sappy Seeds onto the Tyranitar, activating its weakness policy. We Toxic it as it Dragon Dances up. We Protect on the knockoff, and we know one more will take it out. We try our luck again and get the double Protect to take out the Tyranitar. With Ursaluna and Arcanine left and both weak, Vileplume outspeeds with Sand Rush and finishes the battle with Brock. Misty Rematch is next, and we don't have anything to Oko the Dolphin, so Enamorous leads to set up the sand. Ferrothorn decides to survive the Temper Flare from Tusk, as next turn Earthquake takes it out. As we get left on half health, it's Gyarados vs Cradilly, as Sappy Seed goes in as it Swords Dances. Waterfall comes in, but it doesn't flinch, as we recover up. With 1 health, it switches out into Archilodon. Tread has to come in, take a big chunk from Body Press, as a couple Earthquake takes out the Steel Dragon. Cradilly Sappy Seeds the Kingdra, as Palafin switches out. Misty clearly hates being seeded, so switches Gourbice into another Sappy Seed. We recover up and let the seed drain the Gorbis. Kingdra is now back in the Ice Beam and gets seeded for the KO. We use our final Sappy Seed as we forget to PP up on our moves, taking out the Palafin as it goes for a Wave Crash. Leaving Gyarados left, but luckily we have Toxic and we land as it gets greedy and Dragon Dances up, as the poison takes it out and wins us Misty's rematch battle. It's time for the final rematch against Lieutenant Surge, and it couldn't have been any easier. Tusk leads as it priority bulks up against Treads. Tread sends out rocks, which we rapid spin away as Pawmot switches in. We Earthquake next to get our first knockout. Treads is back out, so we bulk up again to follow up with another Earthquake to break its sash and rapid spin to boost our speed. Another Earthquake goes into Belly Bolt. Close combat takes out the Rotom Wash. Earthquake on both Manectric and Iron Hands give us the easy rematch victory, opening the way for Koga. Against Koga, Colossal debuts against Swellow, taking minimum damage from Boom Burst and returning a Power Gem its way. Greninja comes in, do decent damage on Treads as Body Press puts it on the orange. Prankster Milotic comes in, setting up the light screen and shoring up as Life Orb ticks away at Greninja. With light screen still up, we take a Sludge Bomb from Excelgor, dropping its special attack with a Moonblast. We shore up our health before a final Moonblast takes it out. Mega Toxtricity decides to try its luck, but Boom Burst isn't enough as an Earth Power sends it back. Valiant is in next, as we finally switch into Cradilly, who takes a close combat as we Sappy Seed. We Protect to heal up, but decide to switch out into Tusk, as Koga has the same thought. We bulk up as Valiant comes in again. Valiant knocks off our leftovers as we rapid spin to take it out. Drapion is all that's left. Tusk eats the Wicked Blow and blows it back with an Earthquake to give us the 6th badge of the run. We land in Cinnabar Island and need a secret key to unlock Blaine in the Pokémon Mansion, but May blocks our way. We let Solrock set up the rocks as we open up with Sappy Seed with Cradilly. We switch Milotic to take the hit, but find ourselves faced up against Mega Blaziken. We stay in and just survive the Flare Blitz, the KO back with Earth Power. Flygon's in next, who Earthquakes our Tusk and follows up with a Draco Meteor on Treads, doing massive damage. Tusk switches back in to take another Earthquake, and again surviving the Draco, as we rapid spin the rocks away and Earthquake the next turn. Boulder's Sappy Seeds the Breloom and Psycho Cuts for the KO. With Relicanth against Cradilly up next, the Ancient Fish flinches Cradilly. but not enough for Sappy Seed to come in and leech off for the KO. We protect on a Choice Spec Manectric, locking itself into Overheat. Colossal is the perfect counter, and Power Gems whittles it down as leftovers keep us full. And with low Soul Rock left, we stay in and take the Earthquake and end the battle with a burn up. With the secret key obtained, we have to take on a few mini-bosses in Blaine's gym. Enamorous leads to override the sun and set up the sand. No issues with the first boss. Enamorous sends a Moonblast into the Mienshao. Cradilly Sappy Seeds the Rhyperior. Colossal walls the Sunflora. And Tusk blows away the Arcanine. And the only real threat was Mega Center Scorch, who catches Boulder on a switch with a massive knockoff and burns our Cradilly as we Sappy Seed. But we protect and let the recoil do most of the work to defeat the first mini-boss. Lycanroc is next, who leads and wants to set up the rocks. Tusk comes in and bulks up, as Lycanroc wants to endeavour. After a few bulk ups, we rapid spin all the rocks away to KO and bring out Zenmo Darmanitan. But we outspeed an Earthquake. Gliscor survives a close combat, but doesn't do any damage back and goes down the next turn. Ursaluna falls to the same fate, this time it only takes one. As Colossal comes in to take down the Charizard with a Power Gem. Final mini-boss wants to set up a Tailwind with Noivern, so we set one of our own with Enamorous, as Boulder Psycho cuts the Nidoking. Boulder is the fastest on the field, going for a Mighty Cleave and KOing the Volcarona. As Noivern does half with Aeroblast, but Enamorous retaliates with a Moonblast. Braviary and Excadrill are left. We target the Excadrill, as a Sacred Sword and U-turn puts it in the red. As Colossal comes in to take the Rock Slide and Boulder takes an additional Air Slash. One more Sacred Sword takes out the Excadrill, and Braviary just about survives a Power Gem from Colossal as we avoid the Air Slash flinch. Boulder finishes the Psychic Eagle with a final Mighty Cleave, and it's time for Blaine and his fire powerhouses. We lead Enamorous to turn Sun into Sand and U-turn into Boulder, taking the cannon hit. We outspeed the next turn and Mighty Cleave for the early lead. Executor is out, but it's less threatening without the sun. Even with a growth, Colossal comes in and doesn't flinch. We burn up, just avoiding the KO, but the Sandstorm finishes it off. Expecting the grass move from Ogerpon, we switch in Boulder, only to be put in the red with a knockoff. Enamorous has to come in, but a U-turn brings in Typhlosion. The coal monster shrugs off an eruption and tries to Power Gem, only to land on Slitherwing. Enamorous comes in to set up the sand again and take the close combat. We outspeed and Moonblast the Fighting Moth. Ivy Cudgel does a lot of damage on Cradilly, as we have to Toxic and sacrifice our leftovers as it knocks them off. We protect for Toxic Chip and Sand, but we have to switch out. We choose Tusk, who gets a Cudgel crit, so we switch again into Colossal, working in our favour as it U-turns into Typhlosion. Typhlosion misses the first Focus Blast, as Power Gem puts it in the red. Next turn it connects, as we take it out on decent HP. Ogerpon is back out, and our defensive mons have taken a lot of damage, so we stay in and get knocked off to the orange, as another Power Gem takes it out. Charizard is the final mon. Blaine tries to flinch us with Air Slash. We avoid it and just miss out on the Power Gem KO. For some reason, we switch out on a Solar Beam into Milotic, trying to set up a priority Light Screen, but almost get taken out. Really should have sent in Enamorous to set up the sand and let the Solar Beam take 2 turns, but we risk Colossal, who takes 1 hit and luckily survives the second on 7 HP and hits a final Power Gem to take out the Mega and receive the 7th badge. We could have used a couple of items we want to get to next, as we face up with Bryce. Enamorous sets up the sand as we go for a Weather Ball into Jinx, who kisses us to fall asleep. Tread comes in on the Freeze Dry, but we stay in for some reason, thinking we would outspeed, but luckily we avoid a Focus Blast to KO with Iron Head. Klinklang makes its debut against Walrein, who can only Ice Beam as we shift gear up. We're all set up, and Gear Grind takes out the Walrein and sweeps the rest of the team. With consecutive gear grinds, we defeat Pryce and obtain the Choice Scarf. Jasmine is next, as Garganacl leads against Bronzong. We Soul Cure and switch in Tusk as the rocks are put on our side. We bulk up, but Tusk decides to explode the same turn. Aggron is in next. We decide to Rapid Spin first as we take an Earthquake. We bulk up again. This time we Earthquake, just shy of the KO, as another does the trick the next turn. We're all set up. We take out Melmetal and Magnezone with an Earthquake. Excadrill's balloon avoids the Earthquake as we close combat it, and the final Monsamurott to defeat Jasmine and get ourselves the Choice Band and the Assault Vest. As we try to hit up the 8th gym, Brenden stops us and brings us to Cerulean Cave. In the cave, we find Archer and Ariana again, this time a consecutive singles battle. We lead Klinklang, whose Gear Grind avoids Mamosign's Sash to KO. Mega Houndoom is in next, but Colossal eats the Flamethrower. With Ice Scales, Houndoom decides to Sucker Punch as we go for a Power Gem, as the same sequence next turn takes out the Dark Dog. Mimikyu is in next to freely Swords Dance, but we switch in Klinklang. Another Gear Grind gets rid of Disguise and the second KOs the Ghost Fairy type. Durant is in and causes us major trouble, as Tusk takes the Superpower well but avoids the Earthquake KO as Durant Hone clauses. An Ironhead flinch the next turn, and we could have switched or pranks to bulk up, but decide to stay in and take another Ironhead, leaving Tusk on 1 HP as Life Orb takes out the Durant. Ariana is straight in next, but Hatterene has no answer for Gear Grind coming its way. Rhyperior comes in to Earthquake Cradilly, who in turn switches out into Marwile as we Sappy Seed the Mega. Tusk comes in on the Swords Dance. We outspeed next turn, but Marwile Sucker Punches us before we can land the Earthquake KO. Cradilly switches into another Rhyperior Earthquake. This time the Sappy Seed lands on a Haunch Crow. We protect to full, next turn going for another Sappy Seed. With a sliver of health left on the Haunch Crow, it goes for a last ditch superpower, but we just recover up as the leeches take out the Dark Bird. And with that, it's time for the final Giovanni battle, and we have no way to get rid of the psychic terrain that Bulele sets up to boost Mewtwo's expanding force. But we came prepared with some secret weapons. We prankster Milotic, who sets up a light screen first turn. Lance's Dragapult misses out on the KO on Tapu, surviving the Moonblast back from Lele, as Scrafty goes for an Ice Punch. Next turn, Lele gets taken down by another Spirit Shackle, as we KO Scrafty with a quad-effective Moonblast, sending out Excadrill and a threatening Mewtwo. Expecting the expanding force, we bring in our check, Primal Armor Crocodile, who's immune to a psychic attack and takes little from Rock Slide. Our Crook comes scarfed and hits first with a Wicked Blow onto the Mewtwo, taking it out only for it to self-revive and Mega Evolve. Lance's Mega Salamence takes the Soul Robbery and takes out Excadrill with a Flamethrower. Mega Mewtwo now outspeeds and Expanding Force takes out the Salamence, but another Wicked Blow takes out the Mewtwo for the second time, as High Horsepower puts us in the orange from Tyranitar. Crook has done its job, so we switch back in Milotic, who takes the High Horsepower, as Dialga puts the Rock Monster in the red with a Body Press. We light screen up again, and Tyranitar goes down to another Body Press, and we survive an Air Slash from Celesteela. We shore up our health as a Flamethrower goes into Geo's last Mon. An Air Slash does minimal damage. A final Flamethrower goes in to end the battle as Giovanni and his crew disperse, never to be seen again. Finally, we can continue our journey as a Pokémon champion and take on Clair for the final badge. And we have a strategy to win. Its name is Great Tusk. We prankster bulk up against the Aerodactyl, avoiding the first turn taunt. With taunt up, we rapid spin as Aero sets up rocks. Earthquake comes in as we rapid spin again. Next turn, we Ice Spinner to take out the fossil as Taunt wears off. Roaring Moon is in with a booster energy. To up its attack, we bulk up twice as it Dragon Dances and goes for a crunch, lowering our defense. We Ice Spinner the next turn, bringing out Dragonite. But even with Dragonite's multi-scale ability, another Ice Spinner takes it out as it can only extreme speed for some damage. With that, we can sweep the rest of Clair's team as Earthquake takes out Magina, Gouging Fire, and finally Naganadal for the 8th and final badge. Before entering Victory Road, we bump into Gary, who leads Staraptor again. We lead Garganacl, who takes a close combat and Salt Cures the bird. We take another close combat as we recover up the damage. Same sequence the next turn, as we're all set at full HP. We switch things around and go for a Salt Cure, but Staraptor U-turns out and we connect with King Gambit instead. We Earthquake the next turn as it Swords Dances up, as Salt Cure just misses out on the KO. We don't risk it and go into Cradilly, who takes the knockoff well, as Salt Cure takes out the Gambit. A couple switches face up Iron Bundle against Iron Treads. Bundle Ice Beams as Tread Earthquakes. Both mums surviving on red health after the second turn. With Bundle outspeeding, we switch into Boulder, who takes the Ice Beam, and KO with a quick attack the next turn. Mega Venusaur is in next, and we stay in and Psycho Cut as it Earth powers, as we both land in the orange. We outspeed and Psycho Cut to take out the Mega Starter. With that starts Gary's cycle of U-turns, onto Garganacl as we Salt Cure on the switches. We catch the Darmanitan on a switch with an Earthquake, as it just barely survives. This time, we Iron Defense, as Darm goes down to its Life Orb to bring in Staraptor. Salt Cure onto the Sneasler coming in, with another landing on Staraptor to take it out. Finally, all that's left is Sneasler, and with no one left to switch into, we Earthquake it away to end Gary's switching ways and start to head to Victory Road. As we make our way through Route 23 showcasing our badge, and before we can enter Victory Road, Brenden stops us for one last battle, and this time leading Deoxys with a Focus Sash. We lead Milotic to set up the light screen, minimizing the Ice Beam damage. Another Ice Beam comes in as we Moonblast, dropping its special attack and bringing it to its sash. An extreme speed comes our way before we can shore up back our health. We take another E-speed and finish off the Deoxys with another Moonblast. Landorus is in, as we shore up again whilst he Earth powers. With light screen down, we go for another, as another Earth power comes in. We stay in and go for a Moonblast, but catch the Sceptile instead. We expect the Bullet Seed, so Sap Sipper comes in, boosting its attack, and taking out the Mega Sceptile with a quick attack. Jirachi is out next, looking to lock itself into Iron Head. The plan was to go to Colossal, but Serene Grace Jirachi kept on flinching away and getting an early crit, so we pivot into Cradilly, luckily avoiding another flinch and this time landing the Sappy Seed. Cradilly switches out as we recover Cradilly to full. Zapdos goes for a huge close combat. As we miss our Toxic, we have to switch in Milotic to take the close combat. We priority shore up. Zapdos continues its close combat trade. As it looks like we need to lose them on, Zapdos decides to switch out as Landorus comes in. We light screen as Earth Power drops her special defense. We take a Sludge Wave next, as a Moonblast on Landorus puts it in the red and drops its special attack. Landorus into Jirachi and Milotic into Treads. Ends with Milotic back out against the close combat Zapdos, as we heal up with Landorus back out. No more need for light screen as we go for the Moonblast KO. This time, Zapdos locks itself into Brave Bird on Treads. We take another as we try and do as much damage with Iron Head. With no one to switch into, we go for another Iron Head, but this time Jirachi switches in. We get flinch first turn, but luckily it ends there, as we avoid another Iron Head flinch and Earthquake Jirachi, who sends in Zapdos. With no more close combats, Zapdos goes for a Blaze Kick, allowing us to switch into Garganacl. We go for a Salt Cure, but another switch lands on the Huntail. Until Shell smashes as we iron defense up. Until Shell smashes again as we get the read wrong and recover. We know one more Salt Cure will do it, so we take the liquidation hit that drops our defense, but recover up as only Zapdos is left. With Brave Bird the best it can do, we take the hit and hit a Salt Cure, leaving the Fighting Bird in red, and the Cure to chip away and end the battle against Brenden. Finally, we can enter Victory Road, and there's a few mini-bosses we need to get through, but we have a solid lineup, with Fur Coat Cradilly, Ice Scales Colossal, immunities with Dry Skin Treads, and Sap Sipping Bulba. We have something for everything that is thrown our way. We come out of it unscathed. Mega Kingler gets the Sappy Seed treatment from Cradilly, trying to Swords Dance up as we protect, and the Draining Leeches take it out. Mega Pinsir can only do half to Garganacl, as a single Salt Cure does the trick after it lowers its defense with the close combat. Mega Lopunny goes for another close combat, this time on Boulder, as Psycho Cut takes it out. Mega Sharpedo hits hard with Crunch, but is too frail as Tread strikes back with an Earthquake. And finally Mega Ordina wishes it never met Treads, as Iron Heads comes its way to bring us out of Victory Road and into the Indigo League to take on the Elite Four. And it's time to look at our box and make the choice who makes the cut to take us through the Elite Four. We narrow it down to 19 mons, with Sand abilities at the top, some mixed abilities like Huge Power Kling Clang and Speed Boost Swampert, immunity abilities like Dry Skin Treads and Sap Sipper Boulder, some defensive options below, and some more random abilities like Trace Gold Dingo and Simple Archilodon. We have a few locked in mons, but it all comes down to knowing L'Oreal's team, and it's the Rain team. Knowing that, let me introduce you to our Sand team to challenge the Elite Four. What's a Sand team without a Sand setter? And she's been our go-to from the beginning. It's Sandstream Enamorous, going for a timid nature, but quick U-turns, also holding the Smooth Rock to extend the sand. Our first rain checker is none other than Iron Treads. With Dry Skin, we go for a Jolly nature, boosting its respectful 106 speed to hit early and hard. Our next rain checker is Water Absorbing Excadrill, with an Adamant nature to make use of its massive 135 attacking stat. Next up, our special defensive rock, Colossal, with Ice Scales. With decent bulk and defenses on either side, it'll definitely take a hit or two. Next up, our defense wall in Cradilly, with Fur Coat, who like Colossal, has decent bulk and defenses all round, but the rock typing doesn't help with the abundance of close combat users. And finally, the MVP of the run, Great Tusk, with Prankster and an Impus nature. Any attacking lead will be priority bulked up on. With Rapid Spin, we can start to outspeed and hit hard with Stab Earthquake. With the team finally set up, we have a good balance of defense and power, but lacking a bit of speed, so we'll need to use the Choice Scarf wisely in each battle. There's no looking back, and in we go, and Lorelei is up next. As we lead our two rain checkers, we scarf the Excadrill, who hits a Poison Jab into Ogerpon, who goes into the orange and Horn Leeches the Tread. As a result, we just miss out on the KO with Supercell Slam. Next turn, Poison Jab does the trick, as we Ice Spinner the Politoed to keep it in and continue to just haze. Bundle is out, and we continue to focus on the left hand side. This time Poison Jab and Supercell Slam combo takes out the Penguin, as an Ice Beam goes into Treads, who've equipped with an Assault Vest, as the rain heals it up. Mega Swampert is in next, with its Swift Swim ability trying to hit hard with Earthquake, but we switch in Cradilly, taking the hit well, and Enamorous brings in the sand, as Politoed is hit to the orange. Politoed sets up the rain again, as the Mega goes for an Ice Punch, missing the Enamorous as we send in Treads to take the hit. But Cradilly's freed up to Sappy Seed into the Mega, as a quad effective hit takes it out. Walk and Wake is in, we protect with the Cradilly, avoiding the Hydro Pump, and Flip Turn from Politoed, as we see how much Supercell Slam does to Walking Wake. We switch in Excadrill, expecting the same turn, but a Hurricane comes in on Treads. who doesn't get confused and goes for another slam to put Wake into the orange. Excadrill locks in Poison Jab, who strikes first to take out the Wake, as we keep Politoed in with Ice Spinner, leaving Lorelei's ace, Primal Kyogre, left with Politoed. We go for a Poison Jab and get the poison on Kyogre, but miss a Supercell Slam, taking massive recoil. But our luck's still in. Kyogre can only Ice Beam, and it's a 50-50 who he targets, and luckily for us, he chooses wrong, hitting Excadrill instead as we survive the turn. With no real switch-ins, we rely on the same strategy. Poison Jab lands, it comes down to Supercell Slam landing, and it does, taking down the Kyogre, leaving Politoed helpless, and ending the battle with a final Poison Jab. On we go, and it's Bruno next. As we lead Tusk against Infernape, we get an early bulk up as the Ape taunts us. Trying to stall, we Rapid Spin, as Ape sends out rocks. Ape wants those rocks up so bad, as we Rapid Spin, but this time outspeeding, missing out on the rock clear. Infernape is low, so we clear the rocks with a final Rapid Spin and take out the Fire Ape. Unfortunately, Como comes in next, as we switch into Enamorus to take on the Dragon move. We outspeed, take out the Fighting Dragon with a quad effective Moonblast that brings in Intrepid Swordsation. Enamorus can't take a hit, so we have to switch in Tusk, and for some reason Zacian goes for a Wild Charge rather than a Behemoth Blade, as we're gratefully immune. We bulk up trying to level the playing field, but Zacian Swords dances. We have to bulk up again as a Behemoth Blade comes our way. It looks like it's a 3-hit KO, so we take one more Behemoth Blade and hit back with an Earthquake to take out the legendary dog. Urshifu is in next, who wants to Wicked Blow to get past our bulk ups, so we send in Treads to take it, as next turn we can guarantee Urshifu goes for close combat, so we can now bring in Enamorus to 4 times resist. We outspeed next turn and blow it away with Moonblast. Iron Valiant is out, to hit on a special defense, so we send in Colossal, who gets paralyzed as Valiant goes for a Thunderbolt. Valiant follows up with an Aura Sphere, as we're still above half health. We know a burn up KO's next turn, but also that 2 more Aura Spheres would do it, as the first comes in to put us in the orange, and we don't get paralyzed and connect with the burn up for the KO to bring in Bruno's final mon, Mega Lucario. The Mega goes for a Bullet Punch as Cradilly switches in, and we're lucky it did, as an adaptability close combat comes in the next turn, putting us on 10 HP as we Sappy Seed to drain it down. We protect for more damage, but we have to switch in the next turn. And our Resonant CC Eater is Enamorus, who comes in to take off more chip off the Mega's health. With a Steel move locked in, we need someone who can take it and outspeed the next turn. So Excadrill comes in, still holding the Choice Scarf, taking the Bullet Punch with ease, and firing an Earthquake the next turn to defeat Bruno. Halfway through the Elite Four, and Agatha is up next, as Enamorus takes the lead to U-turn out onto Zoroark, revealing the Dark type, as the Sludge Bomb doesn't do anything to Excadrill. Our Choice Scarf hitter hits an Earthquake the next turn for an early lead. Gengar is in next, and will Mega and lock us in with Shadow Tag, so we have to switch out, and into Colossal we go. With an Assault Vest and Sand Up, we take the Aura Sphere well. Mega Gengar has the nasty plot up, as we Earth Power for decent damage. One more will do it. Next turn, Gengar goes for Shadow Ball, trying to reduce our special defense, but it doesn't matter, as another Earth Power takes it out. Fluttermane is in next, and with the Sand still up, boosting our special defense, we have no reason to switch. We take a Psyshock, leaving us with more than 50% HP, and we do about the same amount of damage with Flamethrower. Burn Up doesn't look like it's going to be enough this turn, so the move repeats, Psyshock into Flamethrower, as we're winning the battle. Fluttermane finally puts us in the orange, as we burn up for the secured KO as Marshadow comes in. We know CC is coming our way, and there's only one person we can rely on, and it's Enamorus to come in. Didn't realise Marshadow had a speed of 125, so it outspeed and hits a big Spectral Thief into Enamorus, surviving on 23 HP to KO with a Moonblast. as the sand takes us down to 8 HP. Chien-Pao comes in and wants the Ice Shard, but Craig comes in to take it. But a quick exit brings in Goldingo as we Sappy Seed. We try and protect for Chip, but Goldingo just nasty plots up. It's not looking good. We have to switch and go into Excadrill, but Goldingo gets greedy and nasty plots up again. As our Scarfed Excadrill outspeeds and Earthquakes its boost away, leaving Chien-Pao left. Out into Cradily we go, taking the Sacred Sword well, but Icicle Crash does a lot more as we don't flinch and hit back with Sappy Seed. With the seeds and leftovers and a protect, we get back above half health as Chien-Pao needs to go for Icicle Crash again, so we bring in Excadrill to take it to gain some extra health from the Leech Seeds. Chien-Pao's last ditch Ice Shard effort comes to no avail as we end the battle with a final Earthquake. One more Elite Four member to go, and it's Lance who's back with his dragons. We get the Aero lead as it's Tusk time to shine. We bulk up first turn, avoiding the taunt again. We stall again as the first Rapid Spin goes in after Aero sets up rocks. Aero's still faster, this time going for Earthquake, but does minimal damage as we spin again. We outspeed and Rapid Spin as Aero Earthquakes, but taunt wears out, so we bulk up as another taunt comes our way. Just like before, the same sequence. We Rapid Spin and an Earthquake, and by the 7th turn, Rapid Spin takes out the fossil as leftovers has gotten us back to almost full HP, and taunt has ended at the perfect time. Melmetal is in next, but we need more boost. We bulk up, avoiding any double Iron Bash crits. Same turn again, as we go at +4. We go for one more bulk up, luckily avoiding any crits, making it +5. No more risks, it's time to go for it. Earthquake takes out Melmetal. We taught Ice Spinner just before we entered, and it connects on the Iron Jugglers. We get greedy and go for another bulk up on Dragonite, avoiding a critical hit from Dual Wing Beat, and we're finally at +6. As next turn, Ice Spinner connects on the Dragonite, going for its multi-scale. The biggest threat and the reason for all the boost, Primal Dialga is in, but Earthquake is more than enough to take it out and bring in Mega Salamence. And from there, we end the easiest battle of the Elite Four, with a quad-effective Ice Spinner. We have one more battle to go to be crowned a Pokémon champion and complete a Radical Red Nuzlocke challenge using Sand Pokémon. And it's our rival, Gary, who leads Pheromosa, who only has physical attacks. So you know what that means. Tusk leads as we priority bulk up, and we're off to a great start as Pheromosa can only land one triple axle. We bulk up again, this time a CC comes in. We Rapid Spin this time in case of a switch, bringing Pheromosa to its sash. We bulk up to +3 as another CC comes our way. Another bulk up to +4. We bulk up a final time, avoiding any crits, and then take out Pheromosa with a Rapid Spin. Mega Metagross is in next, but with no Levitate, Earthquake makes short work of it. Hadron Engine Miraidon is in, who usually causes us issues, but another Earthquake sends it packing. 3 down, 3 to go, and Yveltal is our next victim. This time, Ice Spinner takes the KO. Another legendary dragon, Eternatus, is in, but Earthquake is too strong, leaving one final boss to take on, and it's ourself, as Ditto Imposter ability triggers. With our stats matching and Ditto Choice Scarf, it's an Ice Spinner showdown. If we get the crit now, we lose the run to a Ditto sweep. Ice Spinners come in as we survive, and a final Ice Spinner of our own takes out the Imposter, defeating our rival and claiming the title of champion. Our 2 Dons have done it, with Tusk stealing the show at the end. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe and look out for the next run, the Rain Team.